Hi everyone and welcome, this is the Apostate Prophet. As everybody already knows, I am certainly going to hell for all the beautiful things that I do for the religion of Islam. But you are going to hell too. In Islam, if you breathe, you're probably going to go to hell. Even Muslims are going to hell in Islam, because Allah is most merciful, most high. I often see people talk about who goes to hell and who doesn't go to hell in Islam. Some modern voices who try to defend Islam assert without knowing that Christians and Jews go to heaven in Islam. But Muslims mostly know what Muhammad's religion says about all this. So, who is going to hell according to Islam? The answer is everyone.
What do you mean everyone?
If we come to all other religious groups first, or non-religious people, all those who are not Muslims, Christians, or Jews, the Quran is very clear. Everyone who rejects Allah goes to hell. The Quran says, "Indeed, those who disbelieve, never will their wealth or their children avail them against Allah at all. And those are the companions of the fire. They will abide therein eternally." It's interesting that the Quran directly offers such an offensive language. Like, everyone who disbelieves in Allah has no help against Allah. Allah will burn them forever. How dare you not believe, you enemy of Allah? There is the theory that those who have never heard of the message of the Quran and what Islam teaches will not be judged by this. They will be judged by their deeds separately. But let's be honest, that doesn't mean anything at all. I mean, what kind of thinking is that? Those people over there in the Amazon forests, they have never heard of this, so they won't directly go to hell. They'll be judged by their deeds. But you, I have just told you the message, and you better don't deny it. The Quran also proudly and happily declares that Allah has no love for the disbelievers at all. Allah does not love the disbelievers. You don't believe in me? I don't love you. But now that we have that out of the way, let's come to Christians and Jews. The Quran initially had some good lines about Christians and Jews, and said something like, "Surely those who believe, and those who are Jews, and the Christians, and the Sabians, whoever believes in Allah and the last day, and does good, they shall have their reward from their Lord, and there is no fear for them, nor shall they grieve." And some people of our time cite this Quran verse to prove that Islam actually tolerates Christians and Jews. But the Islamic consensus is that this refers to Christians and Jews and Sabians before the arrival of Muhammad's message. Sabians are not even a thing anymore. Those who heard of Muhammad and the Quran and reject Muhammad and the Quran won't come close to heaven, where there are rivers of wine and living sex dolls. In reality, when Muhammad's life and the progression of the Quran is analyzed, it looks like Muhammad was merely appeasing the Jews and the Christians, because they were monotheists as opposed to the local immoral pagans. When most Jews outright rejected his message and started making fun of him, he became hostile toward the Jews. When Christians rejected him, he became hostile toward Christians, and later he proudly declared that he would expel all Jews and Christians from Arabia. He was never able to do that, by the way, and someone else did this in his place, long after him. This is a promise or a prophecy gone wrong. I'm sure Muslims have a lot to say about this. This whole development, this whole change of heart toward Christians and Jews was also reflected in the Quran. The book doesn't only say that every religion besides Islam will be rejected by Allah, which is very clear. It also mentions groups by their names. Jews and Christians are explicitly called disbelievers in the Quran, and Allah wants to punish them. People who call Jesus the Son of God are disbelievers. Heaven is forbidden for them, and their abode is hell. It also says that Christians and Jews and polytheists who see the message and disbelieve and reject the commands of the Quran will go to hell and are the worst of creation. I love this verse. The Islamic position is generally that Christians and Jews were originally righteous people, but at some point their scriptures got mysteriously corrupted by some people, because some people so badly knew the truth and wanted to go to hell. And that's why the Christian and Jewish religions are now so different from Islam. I know, you will likely not buy that unless you were indoctrinated with this thing called Islam. Finally, the Quran makes clear that he sent Muhammad, his messenger, to make Islam superior over all religions. And the Islamic consensus is that following and accepting Muhammad is a requirement for the ticket to heaven. But let's come to Muslims. This one is the most complicated one. Screw all the others, they all go to hell anyway. Muslims don't have the guarantee to go to heaven simply by believing in Allah and following Islam. You have to go through acts and deeds and avoid sin. Because your actions in life decide how many points you collected during your lifetime, what your score at the end is. And that score, together with additional deeds and mistakes, prayers over you, your relationships, and finally Muhammad's intercession, will decide whether you land in hell and burn there for some time or go to heaven directly. Being a Muslim is not enough. If someone is a Muslim and doesn't pray, for example, he will most likely spend some time in hell. If you're doing alcohol and doing dirty stuff like having sex with random people, for example, instead of waiting for the fantastic full-breasted virgins in the sky, you'll probably spend some time in hell. Even if you have been quite a good person, but you have contradicted Allah's definition of good and bad, you might spend some time in hell. You'll just be there for a while, no big deal. You might be tortured there, burn and burn and burn, and suffer, and have your skin and your flesh and your bones melted. But just temporarily. But finally, if you were a Muslim and you had a little bit of faith, Muhammad will come. Muhammad will intercede, and Allah will finally take you out of hell once he is done with the revenge for your misbehavior, like drinking alcohol, lazily laying around and having sex, and place you in heaven, where you can live in all eternity, and finally drink wine, and lazily lay around, and have sex with those special girls that Allah created just for you. You can now take a fresh breath and know that you are with Allah and Muhammad, while all those amazing people below, like your non-Muslim friends who helped you in hard times and comforted you and made sacrifices for you and invited you for dinner and hosted you in their homes and gave you gifts and smiles and loved you and trusted you and believed in you and even had your love and your trust, will burn in hell and be killed and revived, and killed, and revived, and melted, and be brought back to life, and tortured and put through suffering, and endless and unbearable pain for all eternity. And you can take a fresh breath of bliss. What a sad point of view. But yeah, Allah is wonderful, merciful, Islam is great, Muhammad was fantastic. Now it's time to go out and pray to Allah, so that you can go to heaven too, and thank Allah for His love. You don't want to be called the worst of creation by the one who lovingly created you, do you? Thanks for watching. If you like this video, especially for how positive it is, don't forget to use the like button and subscribe for more. My videos are mostly not monetized, so you can watch them without ads. If you want to support me on this journey, you can support me on Patreon or on apostateprophet.com. I appreciate all your support so much. I'll be back. Until next time, have a great day and stay away from Islam.